What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video, carrying on with our little mini series of looking at the starting sets for Diablo 3 Season 29. Today we get to the Wizard and the Firebirds. Now, I know Wizard is going to be very popular because it probably has the most powerful build in the game, the Telrashian Meteor. Firebirds, when you get the 6-piece, is a pretty good build. It's very strong, it's quite tanky, it's fast, all that kind of stuff. But I thought today we'll just go through the 2-piece and kind of have a little look at it, where it is, and then add on the 4-piece, add on the 6-piece, and just so on and so forth, and see where we get to. So, as we do the videos, we're going to simulate a new season, so we're not going to add any Paragon points. We're not going to use items that are potentially difficult to get. So, when you get to 70, you do the first part of your season journey, you're going to get yourself gloves, and you're going to get yourself a helm. Now, the 2-piece is very good. Disintegrate ignites enemies, cause them to take 3000% weapon damage per second until they die. You also get a cheat death. Hardcore, the cheat death is a bit of a bonus. Now, disintegrate weapon damage, I've gone for a 2-hander. It does seem to do a bit more damage. If you have to take an offhand and a wand, by all means, go for it. We've put on Sage's set again because it is craftable. We've put on Reaper's Wraps again because it is craftable. All you have to do is kill Malthael at level 70 and he will drop the plans for you. The helm I've got is quite nice. It is ancient, so we've got a little bit of a boost here in the stats on the intelligence and the vitality, but no crit chance on it. These gloves are the only non-ancient gloves I've currently got. They do have attack speed and double crit, so they are spitting out quite a lot of damage. So, bear those two things in mind when we watch that, but we'll offset that. We won't put a green gem emerald in our weapon, and we're not going to reroll the stats on it, so, take that as you will. In the cube, very easy item to get for Wizard is Ashengar's Blood Braces. They do nothing but buff up your toughness, so it gives you a double shield effectively. I do have the Orb of Infinite Depth here, but on the bar you'll see we're not being naughty and we're not taking Explosive Blast. That's doing nothing for us, and the Puzzle Ring also does nothing for us. Now, if there was some way of getting an easy modifier for the Firebirds, I would put it in, because obviously that's what we did with the Necro, it's what we did with the Demon Hunter. But there really isn't much. So you've got Death Wish, which gives you a 325% damage increase, but there's a lot of swords in the loot pool for the Wizards, so that is a bit crappy. Etched Sigil gives you Twister damage and casts you Twister. There's a chance you get this leveling if you save your shards till like 33, roll for sources, you might get this. But really, 250% damage on an energy twister, and that's it. You don't have any of the other energy twister items. I don't think it's going to be particularly good. The weapon damage is just going to be added to twister. There's no interaction there between the two on the 2-piece. And looking through everything, I can't really find any way. Orb of Infinite Depth is probably the easiest modifier you could get. That would be 40% damage increase, 10% stacks 4 times. I mean, you could get a non-perfect one, I suppose, and be having it in your offhand slot. You'd have to also make sure you've got Explosive Blast on your bar, numlocked, and so on and so forth. Still not a massively easy modifier to get. There are a lot of sources in the pool. Serpent Spark, again, you might find that leveling. You might find yourself a unstable scepter whilst leveling. If you did get this, or you got the Triumvirate, if either of those two things, you can find, obviously those two pair together, you'd have 400% times by 450. If you added that to your Disintegrate, that would be a decent amount of damage. Be a little tight on resource, I think. But you could start upgrading daggers. There's only 3 in the pool, and you could get yourself another modifier for Arcane Orb. But if you see what I mean, it's not easy to put this stuff together. There's nothing very easy to get our hands on. So we're just going to go and do the 2-piece. Torment 4 again. Torment 4 is very doable for us. it's just nowhere near as fast or efficient as the DH. I personally would probably drop this to like Torment 3, but we'll show you. We've stacked as much damage as I think we can get in, or a reasonable amount anyway. We've got Magic Weapon with the Force Weapon Rune for 20% here. We've got Familiar with the Spark Flint for 10% increased damage there. We've got Convergence because it's the biggest area of effect on the Disintegrate. Safe Passage for some damage reduction. Power of the Storm to help us with the Arcane Power reduction. And the same goes for Diamond Skin Prism. Shields for Galvanizing Ward pairs just well with the Blood Braces, and Dying sucks, so we're going to leave that on. Max Arcane Power so that we can keep blasting out Divergence. Power Hungry, you're going to be more than 30 yards away a lot of the time. Unstable Anomaly because I'm going to be playing Hardcore. If you're not playing Hardcore, I think the most simple mod to pick is probably Audacity, close range damage. You can also go Conflagration, that'll give you an increased crit chance, or YOLO it and increase your damage by 15% going Glass Cannon. An Elemental Exposure is another one that does add a bit of damage, so you could get some more damage into this, but it's fairly close to about as high as we can get. So the enemies do die, they just don't die terribly fast. But if you're doing a GR20 clear, it doesn't really matter if it takes you like a few minutes and stuff. But yeah, that's Torment 4. As you say, it does kill the enemies. Maybe it's on the borderline of being inefficient, and if you did have some extra kind of modifier that you got lucky and found, like a convention of elements, something like that, then that would help. But if we just lower the difficulty down to Torment 3, we should find that this is just a bit more faster. We're more like Homelander now, and stuff is just melting with our Superman laser beam eyes. It's still not amazing, it's still not one-shotting stuff, but that is just the mechanic of the burn effect. It's not going to do that. It's going to take a second or two to kill everything. But the two-piece for me pretty much is about Torment 3 without anything else fancy found. It's kind of nice for like big areas because you can kind of tag all of it and set it on fire, so it's got a little bit of AoE potential, but not massively. Like this, as I say, this is Torment 3 and this isn't amazingly fast, and it's not like we're completely pooping on everything like we were with either Necrocorpse Explosion or with Demon Hunter, but still fairly solid for a two-piece and pretty good. So let's go put the four-piece on and see how we get on. So now with the feet and shoulders added, we do have four-piece Firebirds. Obviously it doesn't actually really help us out, but what it does do is it gives us infinite teleports, so it makes mopping up the rest of your season journey faster, because you can just simply whiz around like this, doing things in the open world where you don't have to kill all the monsters. You can do kind of like drive-bys and tag everything. But yeah, still it's no extra damage, so it's a bit of convenience. It makes, as I say, mopping up that last bit of your season journey so much faster. And when you get the six-piece, obviously that then becomes a little bit handier. So let's go stick our full suit on with no modifiers and see how we do. So if we put the full six pieces on, then of course we still benefit from the 80% damage reduction from the four-piece. We get 5,000% increased damage whilst Ignite is applied to a target. And if we hit ignited enemy with a non-channeling fire spell, we deal automatic combustion stacks. Pets can't trigger the effect, so you need another fire spell to do the detonation. Now, even with the 80% damage reduction with 0 Paragon, the sorcerer slash wizard slash mage, whatever you want to call it, is pretty bloody squishy. There are obviously really good options you can get, but they're quite rare. So Hail of Carini, 80% damage reduction after Storm Armor. 80% times 80% is pretty large. You then add that up to 80% damage reduction from the Orb of Infinite Depth, and you are very tanky. Unfortunately, the mechanics can be a little wonky, as in sometimes your Storm Armor doesn't proc, you lose 80% mitigation. Sometimes there's not enough stuff for you to hit with Explosive Blast nearby, you can lose 80% damage reduction from the Orb of Infinite Depth. I guess maybe one of the reasons that's why this two-piece has got this 60-second on death effect cooldown. You can really do with that probably across all wizard builds, but it is exclusive to Firebirds. But as I say, they're going to be quite hard to get. Orb of Infinite Depth is probably the best that we can get. It does give us a bit of damage boost as well. Now, having done a little bit of testing with this kind of gear that we've got here, it is quite hard to really do much more than Torment 14. We've got a decent amount of damage using the Spectral Blades and the Explosive Blast to both detonate the combustion stacks. Damage is okay. It's more kind of really toughness. You can take Blur, I guess, if you want to take a 17% damage reduction. Galvanizing Ward for shield. You could try and build a bigger shield, so maybe get rid of the Familiar for magic weapon deflection and try and do that, but you're going to be limiting yourself on arcane power a little bit, and that's just kind of the the difficulty of building a character like immediately straight out the gate. But we'll jump into T14 and we'll have a little look-see at the damage. Let's just see if my numlock has gone on. Yes, it has. Brilliant. Oh, and of course we get this map. So build your stacks up to 50, teleport away. You want to get off this, and you want to get off onto your Talrasha, really, because Talrasha is just easier than this. But damage-wise, yeah, decent. If you can keep up your Orb of Infinite Depth stacks. We are having resource problems, so that's why I had the Arcanauts on, just to try and help with the power. You can stick a Topaz in your helm, that would give you a bit more resource cost reduction. You could maybe drop Unstable Anomaly for the arcane power, but it's got the damage to do T14 without finding anything else. So I mean, that is, I guess, encouraging, but again, it just brings me back. That's why I think the Demon Hunter is the best, because you need almost nothing to unlock T16, which is pretty decent. So that is Firebird. Now, obviously, you can get other stuff to help you out with more damage, but ultimately, I think probably it's a little bit more kind of toughness is your issue. You can have the Orb of Infinite Depth on the character by all means. You can do in-game to activate more of the Explosive Blast explosions. You can do the Death Wish, as we said at the start, for extra damage. There's a bunch you can do with Firebirds, but I would still be building out a Talrasha Wizard because I think it's just much faster for keys. I think it's better for speeds, and it goes higher and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Tal, where you want to go, but until then, Firebirds is a pretty solid start. I'd say probably, yeah, about the second best on offer. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Filthy Casual. Take it easy, guys. Peace.